All these years, you enticed me to follow you. To what? All you've ever shown me is pain, death, destruction. I've seen beauty, family, love. Why did you take it? Why did you take it?
Hello, and welcome to our podcast about the making of a new motion picture entitled The Seraphim. My name is Rob Dickehuth. I am the writer and director of the movie, and today we will be exploring the world of the Seraphim. We will talk a bit about the story, and we will do some dramatic readings from the script by the talent who have joined us today. If you are tuning in for the first time, The Seraphim is a classic story about good versus evil, with mankind caught in the middle. But in this case, with a special twist. The Seraphim are the highest order of angels in the Christian angelic hierarchy. They are God's messengers, attendants, and guardians. They act as agents of purification, removing sin, and preparing individuals to serve God. With that as an inspiration for my story, along with some concepts drawn from classic literature, I have constructed a world in which angels and demons are ever present, the good balancing out the evil. However, that is only partially what my film The Seraphim is about. In this story, a man who is ignorant of his celestial heritage is beset upon by a demonic beast that torments him, terrorizes him, and tempts him in a way that sets up a final conflict between the forces of heaven and hell. The all-too-human characters in this story will be challenged with a world in which evil appears to run rampant and is unstoppable, testing the very meaning of free will. We're going to move on now to a reading from the script. We will start at the top with Scene 1. The kindergarten encounter with evil. This scene takes place early in Joph's life on his first day in kindergarten. Tayla will play his mother. Emma will play a teacher. And Dylan will be playing the 4-year-old Joph. I will read the narration. Okay? Here we go. So we start with a black screen. We hear ethereal mandolin music playing a hopeful, uplifting tune. We fade in a white screen with a hint of shimmering. A child's hand in sharp focus reaches slowly up, index finger pointing. A woman's hand reaches down towards the child's hand, and for a moment, the two fingers linger in virtual imitation of Michelangelo's painting of God pointing at Adam's finger. Then the child's hand reaches up and grabs hold of the woman's index finger. The next thing we see is a moving floor pattern. A brown tile floor with a speckled pattern flies by. Then a child's feet appear, walking along. Next, we see the wide eyes of a blue-eyed, cherubic, blonde-haired 4-year-old child, Joph Claring, as he looks around, a bit bewildered by new experiences. Cut to a grade school hallway, we see lockers, classrooms. Then we see Joph and his beautiful mid-20s mother, Angela Claring, walking down the hallway, hand in hand, with an open door behind them through which the sun shines brightly, casting a halo around them. Sounds of children increase as they turn a corner and approach the open door of a classroom. Stopping inside the threshold of the room, Joph fearfully looks up to his mother. She is surveying the room and then looks down at her son. She smiles at him warmly, comforting. Joph seems a bit encouraged and looks again over at the sight he finds troubling. His mother's hand appears on the side of his head, offering a particularly protective feel. We see a kindergarten with about 20 4- and 5-year-old children engaged in various activities spread out on floor mats, coloring pictures, playing with blocks, and pushing buttons on digital toys. A kindly-looking teacher in her mid-30s approaches the mother and child, the child who is now clinging to his mother's leg. The teacher kneels down and makes face-to-face contact with Joph. The music abruptly stops. The ephemeral mood is broken.
Hi! We're so glad you're here. Would you like to come play with us?
Joph looks up again at his mother, who nods and smiles in approval. The teacher takes his free hand in an attempt to lure him away from his mother.
Let's draw a picture, okay? Can you draw me a nice picture of your mom? Or your dad? I'd like to see what your house looks like. Can you draw it for me?
Joph reluctantly loses his grip on Angela's leg as he is pulled away by the teacher. Angela blows him a kiss and backs out of the door, smiling. Happy music. As Joph, sitting at a table in close proximity to the teacher's desk, is working diligently on a crayon drawing. But it is a strange drawing of black arms burning. The happy music kind of goes off tune.
Joph, what is that?
A man with hot arms.
Oh, I see.
But she is concerned. Outside in the schoolyard, a devil dog, hairless, black, with a long neck and piercing yellow eyes, looks around slowly and fixes its gaze on the school. It trots towards the building. Inside the classroom, later, the children are now scattered around the room on sleeping mats. Some are restless. The teacher walks among them, kneeling down to answer one child's question. But we hear a menacing buzz, music, and the camera, from a point of view, low end, low down, like it's a dog surveying the room, starts moving around, wandering from child to child, until it zeroes in on a sleeping boy, Jasper, a slightly older 5-year-old with black hair. Zip! Jasper's eyes open expressionless. Something has possessed him. Later, the children are once again engaged in various play tasks, building Legos, drawing, playing with clay. At her desk, the teacher looks at her watch and claps her hands.
Okay, children, it's cleanup time. Put everything away. Back to your chairs.
Joph obediently puts his crayons back in their box and folds his hands on the table in front of him, looking around curiously at all the activities of the other children. The teacher, noticing his obedience, smiles in appreciation. She gestures for Joph to come over to her desk, which he immediately does.
I need your help. Would you please help the other children put their toys away? Can you do that for me?
Joph nods and eagerly goes off. He helps a sweet-looking, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Crystal Gates put her crayons back in their box.
Thank you. My name is Crystal. What's your name?
Joph smiles, a little sheepishly.
Joph, I have to help everyone clean up now.
He goes over to help a little boy pick up some papers from the floor and moves them over to the table. But he curiously looks back at Crystal. Joph sees Jasper at the far side of the room continuing to play with his wooden blocks rather than picking his things up. Joph goes over to help, standing over Jasper for a moment.
Cleanup time.
But Jasper ignores the reminder. Joph unilaterally picks up a couple of blocks and drops them in a nearby bin. But Jasper mechanically keeps playing. Joph comes back and stands over Jasper, expecting him to start cleaning up, but he does not. Joph becomes irritated and raises his voice.
It's cleanup time.
Low, rumbling music as Jasper assumes an unnaturally malevolent grimace and lets out a guttural growl. Joph gets a whiff of a foul odor and holds his nose.
Ooh, you stink.
Suddenly, Jasper wheels around with a large wooden block in his hand and slams it directly into Joph's nose. Thwack! Joph screams. He grabs his nose and buckles to the ground. Jasper smiles and calmly resumes playing. The teacher hears the commotion, sees Joph on the floor, and rushes over to help. But when she sees the blood...
Oh my God! Jasper!
She pulls a tissue out of her pocket and tries to stem the flow of red liquid.
It's okay. It's okay.
The scene becomes chaotic as children scream at the sight of the blood and move away. Jasper backs up too, slowly, deliberately, smiling malevolently. And that's the end of our scene. That was great. Thanks, everyone. Let's open up things now and discuss your thought about these scenes. What were your impressions of the characters and their reactions? Dylan, what did you think about this scene?
I think it's cute and like a little bit devilish.
Little devilish?
Devilish is a very good word to describe this, Dill.
Yeah, that is a good that's a good word. So how do you think that affects Joph? Is he? We know he's hurt.
It affects him that the other people like get mad and like they take it out on him.
You think so? Yeah. So Jasper is not a good person, is he?
No.
Well, technically, we don't know. He's possessed at this point.
That's true.
So he could be a good person, but he's just possessed.
Yeah, but no one else knows that. So it's definitely a very startling, disconcerting moment to happen, especially on the first day of kindergarten.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Emma, I liked your reaction. It would be pretty startling, wouldn't you think, to suddenly have blood everywhere?
Oh, absolutely. This is the kind of thing you more expect from high schoolers, and this is kindergarten. Most of these kids, I presume, are from decent enough households where you don't expect them to react so violently and with so much blood, and especially mostly unprompted. All Joph really did was tell Jasper that he stank. From the way Jasper reacted, you'd expect Joph to have I don't know, stolen his juice box or physically grabbed one of the blocks out of his hands.
Right, and I think what's important about the scene is that the audience, we know that something has happened to Jasper, but nobody else does. In fact, Joph doesn't even know.
Oh yeah.
At this point, but this is a turning point because from this point on, he will be privy to an entirely different world experience.
Oh, definitely. I think something I noticed, now that I'm going back over this scene while we're doing this, is that, Joph doesn't have the nosebleeds that usually come with demonic presence until after this moment. So it's kind of his body having a psychosomatic reaction to the presence of evil later on and kind of going back to that day, even if he doesn't necessarily remember all the details, which I think is really interesting.
Exactly. I did not write a scene, but I would be curious to know what Angela's thoughts might have been regarding this first encounter with evil. She knows it happens, but and she certainly sees the outcome of that afterwards. But yeah, it's an interesting scene. So, okay, our time is up for today. So I'd like to thank our actors. Thank you, Dylan, for joining us today, and Emma and Tayla. And there's more to come. In the next episode, we will be reading scenes from Joph's teen years and the trauma that changes his life. So please like this video and subscribe to our channel for the latest updates as we talk more about the production of our film, The Seraphim.
You know, one of the things that in my career I have been looking at is, if I read a script, I always ask myself the question, is this a script that has franchise potential? And beyond that, is the script I'm reading a potential origin story of the franchise? And when I first read The Seraphim, which is so intelligently designed, and I loved the idea that you didn't even probably mean to write an origin story to a franchise, but you did. And I do believe there could be a sequel, could be a trilogy. And I'm just curious, how do you see that mythology built out in part 2 and part 3?
Well, that's a good question, and there's 2 responses to that. The understandable sequel is to see what happens to the daughter at the end of the film. There is a child at the end of the film, so the sequel could be about her. So that's on one level, but on another level, I was able to paint all of these characters in such a way that they all had a very deep backstory that we only get glimpses of. We do introduce a mysterious woman, and another character who is sort of a kindred spirit to our protagonist. And there's a lot of mystery about them and their backstory and how they came together to meet during the course of this story. There is a whole nother layer of story dealing with our protagonist's parents. Who are they? How did they get together? And what's going on there? And on another level, we have this mysterious family lawyer who endows our protagonist with a phenomenal gift of basically unlimited financial resources. And there's a whole question about him. Where does he come from? Where does he fit in? Is he going to show up in the sequel? Do we need to know more about him from a prequel standpoint? Yes. Could it be a trilogy? Absolutely. Every one of these, it could be not necessarily a progressive trilogy. It could be a prequel. It could be a sequel and a prequel. So there's a lot of possibilities in it. This whole world that I create is only explored at the very shallowest level because we know our protagonist has a lot of potential, but we know as we watch the story that potential is interrupted. So what would his mission have been if he had not gone off on this path that he's on in the film? So it has tremendous possibilities for a franchise, absolutely.